Hello there. Ministers have rightly been warned that the actions of those in the House of Lords has undermined the UK government's Brexit negotiating position. The EU is now stalling the Brexit talks to see what effect the votes in the House of Lords will have on the shape of the EU Withdrawal Bill after it has gone back through the House of Commons process. Although the Commons could reject all the Brexit bear trap amendments put in by the Lords, that is not guaranteed. This news comes as the Lords votes through yet another amendment to the Withdrawal Bill that would tie the UK into the EU environmental standards well after Brexit. Although as part of the government plans, the current EU standards would be made part of the UK law immediately post-Brexit Day and be able to be changed by us later, the Lords has gone one step further to try and enshrine all future EU standards and changes to standards into our law forever. Peers voted by a majority of 50 to say the government should set up a body to maintain EU standards of environmental protection after Brexit, says the BBC. The Lords obviously have more faith in the EU than they do in the system of which they are a part. According to The Sun, one minister told them that, "As we warned, the EU are now negotiating with Parliament, not us, and they are playing for time while they see what MPs say." They added the talks within Brussels have slowed down since the Lords began changing the bill, adding Brussels bosses had all but admitted it. And this is exactly the position that those Remain agitators in the House of Lords wanted us to be in. They have worked tirelessly to undermine and weaken the UK in this whole Brexit process. And as a result, as Ian Martin writes in The Times, the House of Lords has cooked its goose. Saying that it's painful to put this out, as some of his best friends sit on those plush red benches, he writes, "They should be abolished, or rather the Lords should be subject to a process of reform so fundamental, so far-reaching, that by the time it is done it will come as close to abolition as makes no difference." And he goes on to say that the Turkish boudoir decor can stay, but the membership must be changed completely. These calls are being made more and more across the board, and the petition to abolish the House of Lords has attracted over 165,000 signatures. But why not millions of signatures? And this is what will give the Lords heart that nothing will really change, and give the establishment the ammunition to maintain their nice little route to patronage. Although the petition will be debated on the 18th of June 2018, the initial response by the Cabinet Office does not fill one with much hope that they're really listening or are going to do anything about it. Here is their response in full. As set out in the manifesto, the government is committed to ensuring that the House of Lords continues to fulfil its constitutional role as a revising and scrutinising chamber which respects the primacy of the House of Commons. Whilst comprehensive reform is not a priority, the government will also continue to work to ensure that the House of Lords remains relevant and effective by addressing issues such as its size. The Lord Speaker's Committee on the Size of the House of Lords, chaired by Lord Burns, made recommendations in October 2017 on ways of reducing the size of the House without requiring legislation. In response, the Prime Minister has written to the Lord Speaker and agreed to continue with the restraint she has shown so far when making appointments to the House. It is incumbent on all sides of the House to consider what they can do to further promote the culture of retirement. In light of the Prime Minister's letter, the Lord Speaker has asked the committee to reconvene to consider next steps. So, it's going to continue, and we might have a slight reduction in numbers, if they can be bothered to get round to it. And since when has any government really worried about its manifesto commitments? Just look at how Brexit has not been handled right the way through. So why a solid commitment all of a sudden to these people working against the will of the electorate? And since when has any Brexit manifesto commitment worried the Tory rebels in both the Lords and the Commons, as they completely ignore it and in fact actively work against it? To the point that it may have given the EU massive negotiating power. I fervently hope that it backfires spectacularly on them because of their antics, and we end up with a hard, no-deal, full withdrawal of the UK from the EU. A total fuck you. The Cabinet Office may think that a comprehensive reform is not a priority and that only the numbers of peers is of any consequence, but many of us commoners outside their cosy little system have a far different opinion. As I've said before, we must keep pushing this petition to get the number of signatures through the roof, as without that the establishment can just say, "So what?" just as they normally do, and this response to the petition by the Cabinet Office looks to me just like the start of a complete establishment fob-off. So, what are your thoughts? Please let us all know what you think by leaving a comment below. Thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.